Okay, so I don't know, like I can be very, very nonchalant and non-reactive when it comes to certain things, but I actually had to sit here for a second and grasp the concept that another country has approved me to come to their country. And it's crazy. Like, I know there's been so many haters in my comments and asking me, like, why would you go to Mexico? Why? When you stay here? And I just need to say this, like, yes, I am appreciative that I was born in this country, but I need to be completely honest with you when I say that there have been so many times in my life where I have not felt like I belong here.
Hold up.
So I quit my job. Yesterday was my last day, and today I'm sitting in the Mexican consulate's office preparing to move to another country where I will be a foreigner. This is huge, and I'm so nervous and anxious, excited. So many feelings right now, so much. Okay, so that went really well. I just need one letter. I didn't have the official letterhead on one of my statements, and so I just need to do that and then reschedule for my next appointment, but it actually went really well. I guess, like they say, it depends on who you get at the office, but she was really nice to me, answered a lot of questions, and so I'm super excited. Fingers crossed. Hey guys, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the whole visa immigration process. Okay, I do not claim to know it all, and I am definitely going to be counting on those of you who have gone through this already to help me out in the comments, because there will probably be questions that I myself cannot answer right now, seeing as I'm a newbie to having my residency card. Okay, so yes, I've already given away the good news. I do have my residency card, but I've been wanting to make this video. I just needed to make sure I had all of my ducks in the row. Here we go. The first thing with the immigration process is you need to start in your country of origin. I'm standing in this line at immigration. I got my fan on, I got my phone wrap on. I just got it here, but what I need is a fan in between my legs, because it's just dripping down there. Like, it's like a swimming pool down there. I'm so hot. And this is to be expected in Merida, but not like a consistent just standing and waiting, but that's how it is. Like, it's a long line in front of me, long line behind me, and I got here an hour before they open, but from what I'm told, people actually sleep here. In the US, I had to go to the Mexican consulate's office. So I made an appointment there online. You can do it online. You may have heard this information before, but yeah, that's where the process is going to start. They're going to give you an application that you need to fill out. There is a lot of different stipulations based off of whether you want to get your visa for permanent residency, temporary residency, someone who's coming for school. You know, there's a lot of different reasons why you may want to get your visa, and that application that they send you is going to tell you which one that you need to fill out. There are going to be some financial requirements that you have to fit within, and if you are not working remotely and you cannot produce a pay stub that shows that this is what you're making, and they go back. So I think mine went back 6 months to 12 months, like on my bank statements, as well as my employee. I think my employee was about 6 months, something like that. But yeah, I had 12 months worth of bank statements for them just in case. But I think she only took the last 6. Just so you know, there are some financial requirements, and that is going to vary based off of your consulate, and there are several depending on what state you're in. In Vegas, I only know of the one, but I know there are certain states like Texas, California, where they may have more, Arizona, whatever. So you just have to check. And again, this is where I'm relying on the co-stars that are in the comments to please help me out with some of these questions, because again, I am green when it comes to this, so I'm just giving you my information based off of being a newbie Mexican. I had 2 appointments, actually 3 appointments with the consulate. There was the one appointment where I took everything that I had, but because I was missing a specific letter that showed proof of something, like legally I had proof, but I needed it from the company, then I had to go back. And so it took a minute for me to get my next appointment, go back, gave her that paperwork, and then after that I had another appointment, but that appointment came when I was actually moving my daughter to North Carolina. So I was in North Carolina when the consulate called and said, you know, we need you to come in, your paperwork, everything is ready, you've been approved. Because even though she told me in the office that I was approved, I still didn't have my sealed visa on my passport, which is what they do. They laminate your passport, one of the pages, with your visa on it, and that had not been done yet, because they put it on hold for about 10 days-ish, and they let you know that you're gonna be going through like another point of security. So I guess it's just their way to run everything, Interpol, whoever, you know, they got to do to check and make sure that I'm good. I'm joking. But anyway, once that was all done, I was in North Carolina and I got the call. So I ended up leaving North Carolina early. For those of you who know about my drama with the movers moving my daughter to North Carolina and her things not being there, there was no point in me being in North Carolina because I wanted to help her decorate, put things together, all of that stuff. You know, my DIY. I wanted to make some content for you guys, but that didn't happen. And at the same time, on the flip side of that, I needed to get back to Vegas anyway because I needed to finish up my own move, and I also needed to get to the consulate's office to get that done. One of the things that I didn't realize is when I booked my flight, and this is where I want you guys to really be aware. When I booked my flight to come to Merida to look for a house, I wasn't sure if I was gonna actually find a house this trip. And so since I'm, you know, I'd been comfortable at my friend Juan's house. Juan is like a brother to me. But since I had been like comfortable there, I knew that I wasn't going to push myself. So I said, I'll give myself like, you know, 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever, to be in Merida, find a home. If I find a home, great. If I don't, I'm just gonna head back to the US, sell my truck, sell my tiny house. And then, you know, come back to Merida, try again, because they're constantly building here. I mean, they are building so much. If you haven't done any of your research on Merida, I want you to, because this place is on and popping. I mean, they are making improvements left and right to the streets, to downtown. They're putting in restaurants, walkable paths. Like, it's really, really growing. So I'm glad that, you know, I'm here. You know, obviously I didn't get in on the ground floor when all this craze was happening. But yeah, anyway, I thought I would just go back to Vegas, come back to Merida. What I didn't realize is that once they laminate your passport with your visa, you ain't coming back into the United States until you have your residency card. So me doing the immigration process on this side was something that I thought, I got 6 months, because she told me you have 6 months. But I didn't know that in that 6 months period that I couldn't come back to the States. And that would have been a problem for me because I had already booked my flight. And so my niece was like, Auntie, did you book your flight back yet? And I said, yeah. And she was like, oh yeah, she hit me with the cringe. And so I was like, wait, what? And then she's like, yeah, if you don't get your immigration card, your residency card, you ain't going back to the United States. So I was like, okay. So anyway, that's when she gave me the information to her lawyer that she used for the process, and I contacted him and he said it should take 3 days. Don't worry, you'll be fine. You'll be able to go back to the US. And so I said, okay, I have already booked my flight back. He said, don't worry about it. It shouldn't take more than 3 days. And I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking 3 days, plus I know that some of those days are weekend days that I was going to be here, and I really needed to spend more time, looking for a house. And Agassi and I had already started the process. Agassi was already looking at properties for me, and we were doing video tours. If there was something that I absolutely wanted, I was ready to put down a deposit, because remember, I was flexible. I was living at Juan's house, house sitting over there, and so I wasn't tripping about putting a deposit, and I trusted that Agassi would look for everything he knew was important to me to look for, and also with a set of realtor eyes. I was also concerned because 3 days and 3 Mexican days is 2 totally different things. So let me just let you know, it did take 3 days, but it was long, tedious, hot, sweaty, and immigration is worse than the DMV or the MVA, wherever you live. I'm not sure what you call it, on its worst day.
It's brutal out here. I'm so glad I got my pool towel. Thank you, Merida. And my little portable fans. I actually had another one with a spray bottle. I forgot it. I'm already moist as it is though. So yeah, this line is crazy. It's like we're finally sitting down, but I had to stand up for like 2 hours. I finally got a seat, and now I don't know how many more hours I'm gonna be sitting here, but I don't understand how they keep everybody outside like this. It just seems really dangerous. There's some elderly people out here, and I'm just like, yeah, I wouldn't want my mom out here in this heat. It's too hot.
So imagine the worst weather you can imagine, and you having to stand in line at the DMV or even the welfare office, because from what I remember, like back in the day, let me tell you, it was not an easy process. I had to stand out in that heat, and even though it was only like 90 degrees here,
it's only 89 degrees, but the humidity makes it feel much hotter, like you're just sweating. Yeah.
90 degrees in Merida with 100% humidity feels like 117 degrees in Las Vegas. There are heat warnings. They pop up on your phone. Your phone may, send you a warning that it's too hot, and you're like, well, I'm not doing anything. But yeah, it was like that. Like I was sweating in places that I didn't even know I could sweat in. I really, really wanted a fan between my legs or some sort of air conditioner between my legs. My ankles were sweating. It wasn't cute. So you're standing outside, no canopy. If you're lucky in the line, there might be a tree over you. And then when you move up in the line, there's a canopy and some chairs. And so I spent 2 hours in the sun, 2 hours under the canopy, and then another hour inside. This was on the second day.
This is crazy. I had to come over to Starbucks because I had to use the bathroom. I've been there in that line at immigration for over 4 hours. So I'm not really sure how they think this is okay, but
I don't know. It's hot as fuck outside. Okay, I gotta watch out because the potholes here are just as bad as New York. On the first day, I spent about an hour outside in the sun, realized we weren't gonna get anywhere because we had gotten there a little late because we had to do all the paperwork in the lawyer's office that morning. So by the time we got there, it was just like, you know, we realized this is a moot point. It's not gonna make any sense at this point to be this far behind in the line. We'll never get seen. We're now 5 hours at immigration. And then the next day after that, there was another 4 hours at immigration. So altogether, it was like 10 hours. So I'm just letting you know, you can get through it. I would not have wanted to do it without the lawyer. I ended up paying the lawyer. It was 5,000 pesos, which is about 300 bucks, 302, something like that, depending on the conversion rate that day. And then with the government, you have to pay another 5,000 pesos. So I ended up paying, you know, the 300 for that and the 300 for that, US dollar, 5,000 peso, Mexican dollar. So yeah, that's what it cost. And I got my card. So when I went back on that third day, that was so that I could actually get my photo, my fingerprints, and all of that. Because on the second day, they claimed that the machines had broken down or whatever. But we did have a really, really bad rainstorm that day. I don't even call it a rainstorm. I want to say that was a monsoon. It was bad. It was scary. The lawyer's assistant was driving me back because even though I rented a car, I didn't want to drive down there. Parking is a mess. So I took an Uber there in the morning and he drove me back, but we couldn't even see in front of us in the car. It was just gray because there was so much water, and he seemed fine. Like, he knew the streets. I'm like, but I'm not trying to die. So, you know, like, slow down, stop, pull over, whatever you gotta do. So when he did bring me back to my Airbnb, I actually ended up making him stay. I was like, no, you're not driving in that. You must stay until it calmed down. And then he left. Got the card. It was a lot. But yeah, I'm here, I'm legal now, and I can now open up a bank account. One of the things that I have to do is get a Mexican phone because from what I understand, if you want to have control of the apps, you have to have a Mexican phone number. So that's the next thing that I have to do, but I also have to wait until I have my address here because I gotta set up a phone plan. So there's a lot of different things that I can do now that I could not do if I just came here with a passport and wanted to do the 180-day visa run. A lot of people do that. A lot of people come here and they decide that, you know, they don't want to go through that whole process, but I can't see myself renting out a whole house for an entire year just for 6 months for me to take a gamble that they're actually gonna let me back in the country, because they could say no. And then if they say, nah, we're just gonna give you like 3 months, or we'll give you 2 weeks, and you still have your name signed on a lease for another 6 months, so you're responsible for that rent regardless. They don't care. So unless you have the type of landlord who would be like, okay, I understand, I'm gonna keep your deposit, don't worry, it's a wash. I didn't want to take that kind of gamble. I don't gamble like that. So I would rather know that I'm good for the next 12 months and there not be any issues. And so yeah, a month before it's time for me to renew, I will start the process all over again. I could have done the 4-year and it would have cost a little bit more, but if I decide next year, then I'll go ahead and do the 4-year. But I don't know. I mean, it's Mexico this year. It could be Portugal, it could be Spain, it could be Africa, it could be the DR, it could be any place next year. So I don't know. And I didn't want to spend the extra money right now if I wasn't sure if I wanted to be a resident 4 or 5 years from now. So yeah, we're just testing all of this out and seeing how it goes. So with that said, I have so much more information for you guys, so many more things that I want to share with you, but I definitely wanted to just give you this little bit about the whole residency green card kind of thing, because yeah, Technically, that's what it is. But it's not a green card, it's a white card, and I look really cute in my photo. So that's my story time, guys. Thank you so much. Please remember, when you're watching my videos, let those ads play. And when you're done, go ahead and binge. If you don't have anything else to do, watch another video. Thank you. Love you. Bye!
Doing it and doing it and doing it well. And I was doing that shit way before I did it with L. And now I'm doing it and doing